Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with another day of my life, entering the 9th of Muharram of 1442. Very grateful. So I wish everybody who's watching this video or following my channel, thank you for the support. And I wish you, all of you, blessings from the Almighty Creator to be given safe prosperity, good health, and longevity and success in all the undertakings that in whatever professions you're doing. So again, please refrain from watching this video while you are attending Friday prayer for our Muslim brothers, especially when the khatib is reciting the khutbah on that particular moment of time, in that particular period. So also please refrain from watching my video while you are busy doing other things. Now let us get into this topic whereby we are going to share the last emission standard stipulated under the Clean Air Regulation 2014 of Malaysia under the Environmental Quality Act 1974. We are going to look into all the remaining emission standard of air pollutants into the air for other factories, for other premises other than those already listed in the first schedule of the Clean Air Regulation. However, this is just sharing of my experience and knowledge and my opinion. It does not represent the authorities who are enforcing the law. This is more of sharing of information for the purpose of education and for our betterment of knowledge. So let's get into the next slide right now. Now, this is the list of categories under the fifth schedule pertaining to the emission of hazardous substances into the air. Okay, and please remember, we are breathing the air, and our air are not carrying tags or even SDS. So we do not know basically what we are breathing. So therefore, this regulation emphasizes that we as individual, probably generator or emitter of all these substances, we need to ensure that our emissions are far within the standard, and especially when we are industrial premises, it is a form of responsible care that we comply to these regulations, to comply to all these standards of emission. Now, the first category listed under the fifth schedule is, look, it goes by category. This is talking about extremely hazardous substances, and they are actually certain species of I believe you know, we have a talk about dioxin and furan. So list of extremely hazardous substances. I got a list here. Polybromated dibenzodioxins, all right, more of bromated dibenzofurans, polychlorinated biphenyls, polychlorinated dibenzodioxins. So biphenyls, PCB, these are dioxin linked chemicals, okay? Polychlorinated dibenzofurans and polyhalogenated dibenzodioxins, polyhalogenated dibenzofurans, and hexachlorobenzene. This is another kind of which is not dioxin and furan, but also considered to be dioxin linked chemicals. So there is a new standard in the international standard. So this environmental law in Malaysia has captured those species of PCBs. So these are extremely hazardous substances. So please get this list, all right, from the authority, or probably you can get the list from the portal of the authority and check it out. Now, this is another category here. Category 2 is carcinogenic substances. We'll take a look, all right, and it is, I have to remind you, an array of substances, all right. We got here category 3, gaseous and volatile organic substances, all right, or compounds, as we have also looked into NMVOC under second schedule, remember. And also category 4 on gaseous and volatile inorganic substances. Okay, it could be sulfur dioxide and nitrogen, and those are other than SOx and NOx. Okay, other than. Okay, we'll take a look in a short while. Okay, and this is SOx and NOx. All right, and particulate inorganic substances and fibers. These are all the types of air pollutants which is already stipulated under the 5th schedule of the Clean Air Regulation. Under regulation, check this out. This is regulation 15. All right, please remember that. This is for emissions from industries other than those which are listed in the 1st schedule, and if it is not found in the 1st schedule, if the industries is in the 1st schedule and the standards are not found there, can also refer to this. That is a footnote somewhere. I wouldn't be discussing that right now. Look, excuse me, alhamdulillah. Now, all right, we are here. This is the 1st schedule. Okay, now the first one, emission standard for hazardous substances. Remember, now let's take a look at the first one. Extremely hazardous substance. What are these? These are dioxins, furans, and also dioxin linked chemicals. Look, the standard has got now mass flow, okay, and also the limit of emission. So for other parameters, they are using milligram per meter cube, but for PCBs or dioxin related chemicals, it is still in nanogram total equivalence per meter cube. Okay, excuse me, alhamdulillah. So this is for that particular species of extremely hazardous substance, normally dioxin and furan, but it's safer for us to call it dioxin linked chemicals, okay, because there's 2 species of the DLC. Now let's go into carcinogenic substances. Look, this law has stipulated the requirement based on the standards are based on mass flow, and check this out, this is in gram, all right, and the other one is in kilogram. So be careful if you're a consultant or doing this sampling of these sort of substances. Look, first of all, while you are sampling for the concentration of these substances, please ensure you do perform the mass flow, meaning get the flow rate. So you got to multiply the flow rate with the concentration and you get mass over time, and please convert to the exact unit, in this case which is gram. If for class 1 substances you are recording like 0.5 gram, more than 0.5 gram per hour, then the limit of emission for that particular substance must be less than 0.1. What are these substances? class 1, extremely hazardous substances. Class 1 is dioxin and furan. But when you talk about carcinogenic substances, class 1, I'll give you an example here. Benzanthracene is anthracene with benzene. All right, this is the chemical structure of that particular substance, benzanthracene. Well, okay, it's a mouthful, isn't it? So it's all about benzene ring, 4 of them attached, and one is attached to the first carbon of the first benzene ring. Now, for these substances, it is considered to be carcinogenic, especially found in tobacco smoke, all right? And for class 1, the mass flow has got to be 0.5 or more, and the limit for this substance is less than 0.1. And that is class 2, okay, and class 3. Apparently, class 3 is lesser in carcinogenic effect, and its limit is right here. Okay, so this is how fifth schedule regulate. So remember, the important thing is to remember mass flow, because it has got class 1, 2, and 3, which varies according to mass flow and associated respectively with the emissions limits in milligram per cubic meter. These are all in milligram per cubic meter. This is the one. This is their limit. Okay, the first one, TEQ, is for dioxin and furan and DLC. Now, this is category 2 also. I have here diethyl sulfate. This is category 2 for the class 2. Look, it is associated to laryngeal cancer, meaning it's about the throat. And this is a sulfate compound. This is the carbon compound, okay? And this is all carbon. This is the sulfate compound, which is in between 2 ethane group, which is now diethyl sulfate. So, chemists, you know better than I do. Those days, yes. My organic chemistry, my inorganic chemistry, and biochemistry was okay. That was 40 years ago. I am recap and relearning now what I have missed out those days. Now let's take a look into category 3, gaseous and volatile organic substances. There you are. An example that we have for you. Just did some research for that and for this, and also I hope if you are a lecturer, students do dig in into more information so that you are well abreast, you are well equipped and well informed about the different types of so-called hazardous substances which are hazardous. And this one, look, be careful with this. What's the mass flow? Kilogram per hour. Look, if we sample, we got the concentration and the flow rate, then we are able to calculate the mass flow. These are all classes that varies with mass flow respectively. Take a look. Class 1, 20. All right, and example is acrylic acid, which is severely irritating. This is acrylic acid is under class 3. There you are. And you can find this. I found this in paint, but not ordinary paint, but we are talking about paint used in shipyards. All right, anti-corrosion paint, paint that could withstand the abrasive nature of the seas, the salt water, and other sorts of a rusting agent, and I saw acrylic acid being one of the constituent in those paints. And the way I see it, there was a study from someone. It's not just carcinogenic, but also mutagenic. So never mind. Please do more research on this. All right, let's get into the next slide. Oh yeah, before I forget, um, while I'm still alive and still around, reading reports and journals, meeting people like some of you, whom I'm honored to be with actually. Please listen to one suggestion that I am about to make. This is regarding environmental reporting, especially those reports coming from contractors, consultants, chemists, consultants, laboratories who perform all this sampling, to ensure or to add in, probably in your appendices, additional information related to the chemistry and the hazard property of all the parameters that you have sampled for your client. Give an appendix or perhaps a glossary, okay, and include especially chemical scientific name, its actual chemical name. Please include chemical structure. Please include some physical properties like volatility, specific density, flammability, for example, flash point, melting point, etc. These are some other physical properties, and also chemical properties, say solubility, all right, and redox, a potential what substance would react adversely with them, and a brief one. It's just a brief note on every parameter that you sample. For example, in this one, what you have got, uh, di diethyl sulfate. Now, what is it? What is it? So give a structural formula. You may add on pictures like this, how the morphology of the structure, how it look like in chemistry, all right, and its physical properties, and eventually you come to this point of what effect would it pose to the environment and the human. Now, these add on these sort of informations in your report. It will enhance your professionalism in reporting, and when you present to your client these reports, please spend some time, probably half an hour to about 1 hour, to do a presentation, not only to disclose to them the results that you got, but also to brief them uh, the chemistry and the toxicology part of these parameters. Then, especially when one of the audience is probably a representative of the top management, you will get the knowledge flowing. You will get the awareness built up for the factory. So the compliance is not because of the law. Eventually, we want the compliance to be based on awareness, and that will nurture some form of responsibility of generators of all these, as you can see, extremely hazardous substances, carcinogenic substances, and gaseous and volatile organic substances. Create the awareness that they are, or we are, generating all these substances, and we are responsible for it. Got it? So I hope this would be a norm in the Malaysian industrial and professional society, composing of probably chemical engineers, especially chemists and process engineers, and get this information to your process designers, all right, and so that eventually we know how would we design processes, because management of all these parameters, if you ask me, it will start from process design, product design, process design, to come up with that product, the entire array in between raw mat and product. Those processes are crucially important, so that when we do this exercise, uh, controlling the emission, we are shifting from doing firefighting work to actual planning of resource management and process design. Okay, so I hope that is clear. uh, right, let's go into the next slide. This is the emissions, the standard for hazardous substances, still under the fifth schedule. All right, and we have got the different types of hazardous substances here. So this one is about category 4, which is on gaseous and volatile but inorganic substances. There you are. Excuse me. And for volatile inorganic substances, gaseous volatile inorganic substances, you know very well chemicals like inorganic, all right? Nitric acid, sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid. These are all volatile inorganic substances. Look, again, there's a mass flow here. So consultants, be careful when you do this testing. Please ensure you got the unit right, okay? And the limit of emission is a milligram per liter. Now, what are they? First, the part A is other than sulfur oxides and oxides of nitrogen. One example that I just learned about it, so I decided to share it with you here in this video. All right, look, before I go to that substance, I want you to take a look at the mass flow. This is called the loading, all right? They call it mass flow. I believe engineers call it loading. Now, there is separate the different classes of standards here. Class 1, all right? The loading uh, is, if it is more than 10 gram per hour, the limit of emission must be less than 1.0 milligram per cubic meter. In class 2, if the loading is more than 1 but less than 5, between 10 and 50 gram per hour, the emission standard is 5.0. And in class 3, if it is between 50 and 300, the limit of emission is 30 milligram per cubic meter. All right, so that is that is uh, that is you got to read the law, right? Again, all right, and check this out. I might have some, the figures are correct, but the interpretation. Now, one example that I have here for you is this. This is arsenic trihydrite. I just found this all the years, I remember doing organic chemistry, sorry, inorganic chemistry, and my lecturer, she was talking about the substance which is used in the war, and after I graduate and I was working, I bought a novel and I read the novel. It is pertaining, she was correct, there was some kind of chemical warfare going on in the First World War. I remember that novel just mentioned the term arsenic. I didn't know what that was until I found this, and then I believe I checked with Wikipedia as well, and correct, true enough, arsenic trihydrite is arsenic, and it has been used as, look, my friend, if we are generating this from our factory, gee, I don't know. All right, so where else can we find this? What sort of a process generate this? We got to find out, okay? And I believe chemists would do a good part in this interpretation to do a bit more research. I'm not in the position to do that so in that intense manner. Now there is another that is for other than SOx and NOx, okay? And there are part B, there is another category, part B, which is sulfur, oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen itself. And nitrogen oxides, oh, nitrogen oxides, this is my favorite. Okay, I believe it is somewhere here. Yeah, I think this is my favorite. There you are, N2O. This is my favorite. This is nitrous oxide. For one reason, it is a laughing gas. It is some kind of giving some anesthetic effect. At the same time, it is making our car too fast, too furious. It's nitrous. It's the same gas that propel power. Okay, so this is but there isn't enough toxicological information that I gather because I'm running out of time. I hope chemists and a competent person, especially when you do have time, please dig up. But I don't expect this work to be done by competent person who is working in factory, because most of these competent person are not 24 hours full time doing the competency work. It's just a part-time job. The competent person is probably a process engineer or a maintenance technician who is also certified competent person for perhaps a scrubber, dust collector, electrostatic precipitator, etc. And they are already full time in their work in shift usually, and that I think is already taxing enough in terms of their time. So this is, I would put this on the shoulders of consultants. You got to do a bit research to help our fellow colleagues, competent persons who are working with industries. They don't have time for this. Now it's consultants' work to find out more details about all this and surface this information in your report, so that you are providing your clients value added services, all right, and they feel that what they pay you is worth everything because of these simple researches and information, the trouble that you got to go through to dig up information and brief them. I believe your clients would appreciate what you're doing. All right, and this is the oxides of nitrogens. You got a lot of species of nitrogen oxides here: nitrogen monoxide, nitrogen trioxide, different color. I got this from Wikipedia, the internet, and I think we thank Google. Okay, for that, for storing, and most of it we thank to those people who shared all this information, that facilitate education at our level. Okay, I don't remember much of my chemistry anyway. So now this is something peculiar here. Look, sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide. Look, the loading, the mass loading is what? Kilogram per hour. Be careful. And the limit is milligram per cubic meter. 400, meaning zero point 0.4, right? 0.4 gram per cubic meter, which is, I think, similar to the old standard in Clean Air Regulation 1978, and perhaps in most of your terms and conditions of approval. However, if it is stated in these standards as we've seen in the third schedule, second schedule, if for SOx and NOx is stated other value, then we got to follow that one. If it is not stated there, then for all these other factories other than those listed in the first schedule, this is the standard. All right. Okay, so I believe that is about this gaseous and volatile inorganic substances that we are able to discuss. I am amazed to see arsenic trihydrite, and we better take a look. We better take a look at our processes. We've got to run an audit, and also chemical engineer. Don't you think it's about time to do mass balances of the entire processes, raw mat to product, raw mat to product? In between, you may have intermediates. Do some mass balance work and find out how much per kilogram of the or per piece of product that you have produced, the company have produced, is equivalent to generating how much of this SOx, NOx, volatile inorganic substances. So end of the day, you can tell the management, sir, for every piece of our product, or for every kilo of our product, we are generating what? How much kilogram per hour of sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, etc. That is part of environmental accounting. And that, if we have, is an important information if we want to declare to the government in a manner that we want to ask for discount for our corporate taxes. Probably, well, it would be used in environmental taxation. Don't look at me. All right, dig it up. Okay, I'm still alive, so I talk about this, and but it may be sensitive to certain countries, so be careful to behave ourselves. All right, now let's go into the next slide. What we have here is the final part of the emission standards found in Environmental Quality Clean Air Regulation, Regulation 15. So we have got category 5 and 6, particulate inorganic substances, also fibers. Okay, and look, again, there is mass flow. Consultants, contractor, please be careful. Class 1, 2, and 3. All right. So this is the mass flow. If it is 1.0 and above, but below 5.0, then okay, something's missing here. I think it's somewhere in the slides. Could you please check it out, sir? Let me see if I have somewhere here in the book. There's just a lot of what they call yeah, it's not good. It's in the book, and the book is under the laptop. What a beautiful moment! Let's check it out now. And these are some particulate inorganic. So check it out. It could be some form of materials. All right. And also category 6 is about fibers, and the law specifically stipulate biopersistent ceramic fibers. These are stable ceramic fibers, biopersistent, or in some schools they would say bioresistant, meaning non-biodegradable, or very, very difficult to degrade, meaning stable. It can get from one food chain to another. So be careful with this. And this is producing ceramic fibers, and mostly is produced from this process, as far as I know. And you may have some solvent evaporation. This is actually inorganic. All right. I have not seen them using organic solvent there. So you have got this filtration as well. These are some sources, and also this pyrolysis is also generating some of these fibers. Now, there you are. There is some write-up over here. All right, there's some write-up over here. You can read this and go in further if you're interested. All right. Okay, some evaporation process generating inorganic volatile particulate of inorganic substances, all right, into the air. Okay, so please, I'm not an expert in this, as I'm just doing my own research. I learn, I do it for myself actually, and share it with you. I'm still learning that there are many things that we ought to know, but we are preoccupied with what we are doing, and we left out all this, and I think it's about time that we get back to the source of knowledge and learn as we go on. Now, all right, viewers, especially subscribers and other viewers, look, I am not the expert. I am learning, and while learning the information, I share it in this platform as a YouTube video. I am also not the certified competent trainer for the authority under EMAS or DOE for this subject. Okay, this is pertaining to environmental law. The most appropriate qualified personnel are competent persons who are DOE officers. They are more qualified to present and explain environmental law. I'm just giving my experience and some opinion and some professional experience that I got with it with you. Okay, so you think about it and develop methods of compliance, and please ensure that these are all comprehensible. Now, yeah, I believe that is about it for the day, for this video. This will mark the end of the what they call standards, where we have covered under Regulation 13. We have covered first schedule, second schedule, third schedule, and now we are up to Regulation 15 governing fifth schedule. We have also seen fourth schedule, dioxin and furan. Remember the Google map, please refer it again, and it's just serving you a basis. The final say of what standard to comply will be the authority. Please respect that. Okay, I'm just giving some guidance in the form of a video for you to understand, have a picture of what this law is like, nothing more than that. So I thank you for your support, for your attention, for your time. I thank you for those who have subscribed to this channel and support me in that manner. Please use this video to enhance knowledge among our colleagues, our suppliers, our affiliates who are in the industrial sector and who are affiliated or related to the discharges and releases of all these sorts of air impurities. please share it with them and tell them they can get this so-called free knowledge. Yeah, it is free knowledge, and I'm just honored to do it from YouTube. And hopefully, all of us, especially those industries in Malaysia and other parts of the world, will be able to control the emissions based on these standards or their standards respectively at a higher level, and ensure that the air quality that we have is free from most of these impurities. Thank you for your attention again. Uh, I wish everybody in good health. And I wish everybody Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. We'll see each other in the next video, inshallah.